Did you know that before scissors and clamps were invented, people used sharp stones, seashells, even fire, to cut a newborn baby's umbilical cord? Imagine the very first moment of your life beginning with a burning stick pressed against your tiny body. Sounds unbelievable? Let's uncover the shocking, untold history of how one of the most natural processes of life, cutting the cord, was once a terrifying ritual. The mystery of birth. Childbirth has always been one of the most sacred and mysterious events in human history. But what most of us don't realize is that the simple act of separating a baby from its mother, cutting the umbilical cord, has a history filled with strange tools, rituals, and beliefs. Today, doctors use sterile scissors and clamps, but thousands of years ago, people trusted seashells, rocks, and even magical ceremonies. Before we dive into these shocking practices, don't forget to subscribe to Untold Vault, because here, we reveal the stories that no one ever told you. Stones, bones, and blades. The earliest evidence suggests that sharp flint stones were one of the first tools used to cut the cord. In some tribes, sharpened animal bones were used instead. Why? Because people believed natural tools carried life energy that protected the newborn. But these tools weren't always clean. In fact, many newborns likely suffered deadly infections because no one understood germs or bacteria. What was meant to be a sacred act often became a dangerous gamble with life. Seashells as nature's scissors. In coastal regions, seashells were used like scissors to clamp and cut the cord. Some cultures believed seashells symbolized fertility and ocean life, giving the baby strength and protection from evil spirits. But here's the shocking part. Archaeologists have actually found seashell clamps buried in ancient sites. These shells were used to pinch and hold the cord shut before slicing it. Think of it as a prehistoric surgical tool. Fire and smoke rituals. In some ancient traditions, the umbilical cord wasn't cut at all. It was burned off. A glowing ember or a burning stick was pressed against the cord until it separated. This wasn't just practical. People believed the smoke would purify the baby, keeping away demons and diseases. But of course, imagine the trauma. The smell of burning flesh was probably the very first thing a newborn experienced. Myths and superstitions around the cord. The cord wasn't just a medical concern. It carried spiritual meaning. In medieval Europe, some believed that if the cord wasn't cut properly, the child would grow up cursed or unlucky. In parts of Asia, families kept the dried cord as a protective charm for the child's future. Others buried it under the home, believing it tied the baby's soul to the land. So, cutting the cord wasn't just science, it was magic, protection, and superstition rolled into one. The first medical tools appear. It wasn't until the late 19th century that proper sterile tools were introduced. Clamps and scissors became the standard, drastically reducing infections. Hospitals finally replaced seashells, stones, and fire with steel and science. But this shift also marked a huge change. Childbirth moved from homes and midwives into hospitals, where doctors took over. What was once a mystical ritual became a medical procedure. Why this story matters. When we look back at how something as basic as cutting an umbilical cord evolved, it shows us how far medicine has come. What was once done with superstition and guesswork is now done with precision and safety. It also reminds us that behind every medical practice today, there are centuries of strange experiments, painful lessons, and untold stories that brought us here. So the next time you see a doctor gently snip a newborn's cord with sterile scissors, remember the seashells, stones, and burning sticks of the past. History hides in the simplest things, even in the first cut of life. If you found this story shocking and fascinating, make sure to subscribe to Untold Vault and turn on the bell icon. Because every week we uncover the untold stories that history tried to hide.